those elemental beings. We be tapping in your energy. We ain't worried about no enemies. Powerful on the drums. Go stupid on the beat. Let your heart be free. We be tapping in your energy. On the drums. Let your heart be free. In your energy. We be tapping in your energy. Go crazy on the drums. Hey y'all. We ain't worried about no enemies. They call us elemental beings. Go stupid on the drums. And let your heart be free. Praise. Praise. Yahweh. Praise.
Tribe, welcome you in. You know how we do. It's 12 o'clock hour, the manifesting out hour. We get things out so we can bring new things in. And we welcome you all, man. We're going to have some great messages. We're going to have some good downloads, and we're just going to get some information out.
And let your heart. Hey. We be tapping in your energy.
So we encourage you to like, share the video, subscribe if you haven't subscribed already, and just hold your seat.
We be tapping in your energy. We be tapping in your energy. They call us elemental beings. We be tapping in your energy. Freestyle. Ready?
Okay.
Let's do it live. We're gonna do it live.
Real
We're gonna do it
quick. We
live.
got something live for y'all. We just be lining up a little bit of things. So we like to bring it in with the sounds of nature. We mimic the sounds of nature. And, you know, we just become at one with the elements. So as we go into our missive, we welcome you all to just rock with our renditions, you know.
All praise to the Most High.
Go.
Yahweh, Yahweh. Yahweh, Yahweh. We give you praise in every way. Yahweh, Yahweh. Yahweh, Yahweh. We call your name, your holy name. Yahweh, 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 Yahweh. We call your name, your holy name. Yahweh, 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 Yahweh. In every way, we give you praise. Yahweh, 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 Yahweh. In every way, you bless the day.
Yeah. Okay, tribe.
Hey,
Yeah,
y'all.
cleanse the energy
Hope we
out.
cleaned out your energies.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay? Sending you guys light and love, positive energy. Okay? I'm just here. I'm just here sitting in for the show, y'all.
Welcoming you in. So I'm going to put on some relaxing music. This is what we do around this time. For all you who not really used to being around here, this is what we do. We're non-judgmental over here, and we are non-religious over here, and we welcome all religion over here. Okay, we are of a non-denominational persuasion. We look at everything from a spiritual sense, right? It's a heightened sense of awareness. Okay, it's called spirituality, and this is what we are about. So we welcome you, and we just gonna get right into it. Let me get some music on, something soothing and relaxing like I do.
Hey everybody, welcome, 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 y'all. Hey y'all, hey. Hey y'all, sending you love back, positive energy. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys are attracting everything you desire like a magnet, okay? We're going into a new year, right? Full of abundance, full of love, full of positive energy. Let's get it.
Okay, so hope you all comfortable, cozy, locked in. I know my few always feel y'all energy around. So welcome you all. Thank you all. Thank you for the hearts. Thank you for the encouragement. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the shares. So this is called the method of study. So we're going to be going into some methods of study, and some things that I feel are important, some things that Spirit has given me, and my meditations and my sleep state as well. Now, as we begin to progress into our spirituality, oftentimes we want to read a lot, and that's not always advised. Knowledge is high explosives. So when you start taking in too much knowledge, you get too confused. Yes, the vibes are very on point. We welcome you here, Shoni Boney. God bless you. So as we begin to move into our ascension and our spirituality, we feel a need to grab and read. We feel a need to inform ourselves. We feel a need to eat. A lot of us been starving spiritually. So what we do, we can find ourselves going in the wrong way. And we take in the wrong thing. You know what happens when you eat the wrong food? It poisons the system. Same way spiritually, if you read the wrong thing or you take it in wrong, it can make you spiritually sick. So what we doing, we just gonna offer some different strategies, right? Now, my first mode of study is known as the study of self. So when I first met, well, I'm not even gonna use that story. I'm gonna just say the study of yourself is the beginning of all studies, right? And when you get into your spiritual work and your spirituality, it's a particular study of self known as shadow work. Now, shadow work, you can break it down to introspection one. What's the definition of introspection? The examination or observation of one's own mental condition or process. So when you're dealing with introspection, it's that look at self. You moving into spirituality. But how do you know which way to go if you really don't know who you are, right? If you really don't know how you processing a thing mentally, you can begin to take on things that's just too much for you. So there's a need first to go with introspection along with shadow work. Now, shadow work is a term that people use very loosely. Many don't describe what it really is. When you're dealing with shadow work, it's about stilling yourself first, slowing yourself down, right? Not indulging. As you're doing shadow work, you can't indulge. You're not going to get into it right. So when you're doing shadow work, it's when you come to a place where you say, okay, I'm willing to stop moving ahead so that I can really look back at myself, look at myself now. I can't do that while I'm indulging. I can't listen while I'm talking, right? So when you're doing shadow work, it's kind of like stopping yourself from talking and listening to a deeper version. And when you're in shadow work, the objective of shadow work is to always focus on the areas that make you weak, right? What is it that's deterring me from becoming my greater self? What is it that's causing blockages? What is it that's holding up my abundance, right? As you look into your shadow, it gets very, very ugly, right? Let's just say you have a perverted mind, okay? And the divine is requiring you now to do shadow work, to look into the perversion of your mind. So what do? You begin to introspect. You look at the ramifications of your perversion. What does it do to you? What does it do to your environment, right? What has it done to the people and the lives that you've come into contact with? This is real shadow work, 101. When you begin to first take accountability for your past, present, and your future, right? Now, when we talk in shadow work, we talking about taking accountability for not what hurt you. That's not accountability. Taking accountability for what you hurt, what you destroyed, what you diminished, what you caused to not be whole. And when you see that part of yourself, we talking shadow work. You have a mode where you sit down in that energy with yourself and you accept, okay, this is me. If it was a wrong done, it's that energy where you say, okay, even though I blame A, B, and C, when I look at the root of it, it was me. I was the stronger one. I was the smarter one. I was the one that responded and caused a whole topple effect, right? When you're doing shadow work, these type of things, they become humbling to one. And it allows one to progress even further into their higher self. It's almost like when you look at the story of Jesus, it speaks of Jesus ascending after transitioning. But many people don't know before he ascended, he had to descend into a triple stage of darkness before he ascended. That's the same thing we must do. It's the same process, right? As you begin to die to yourself in the mode of shadow work, because you got to be willing to die to self to do shadow work. If you're a person that's not willing to get into the lower extremities of yourself and your actions, you're not ever going to really do shadow work. Shadow work is about healing those places of, those places that's deep within, the places that we try to live life and ignore, the places that we try to hide from everyone else, those real deep, dark places. That's where you sit down and do your shadow work at, within yourself. All of that is in the energy of introspection. Okay, so as we introspect, we reach in shadow work through introspection. The study of oneself, right? Method of study, number one. Who am I studying? Myself. What about myself? The deepest, darkest recesses of my heart are what I'm studying. Shadow work, introspection. Then you have retrospection, right? All of this is in self-study. Retrospection, the definition of retrospection, according to Webster. The action of looking back or reviewing past events or situations, especially those in one's own life. So what are we doing in retrospection? Because we in the energy of shadow work. And it's a study method, right? It's a method of study. Retrospection. Now I'm looking back at, I've accepted that I'm wrong. And introspection. Now retrospection, it brings a deeper sense of empathy and connectivity, because now you really gotta be willing to admit what you knocked over, how you affected the people by the decisions that you made. This is called retrospection, shadow work, from a retrospective standpoint, where you like, you could have been married and went through a divorce. And although the chips fell in your favor and maybe they wronged you and it was publicly known and you won. But when you go through retrospection, you begin to realize it take two to tango. And then you say, well, I was wrong and I affected this person's life by what I did, right? Not what they did, what I did. Because you're retrospecting now. You're looking back and you're reviewing the events of your past and what you did. And when we do shadow work, we claiming our own, right? That shadow work ain't about looking to blame. Shadow work is actually finding areas where you can justifiably put the blame on you. Doing shadow work, you want to find out what you did. When you're doing retrospection, it's not about looking back and saying, well, this person hurt me. No, it's about saying, well, maybe I was the beginning of it all. Maybe I started it all, right? Now, those were like two kind of strategies according to self-study. Introspection, retrospection, shadow work, right? To me, it falls under all in the energy of shadow work. Now we move on to a different kind of method of study. I call it geographical location and ancestral comparison, right? So as we begin to ascend spiritually, we have our books that we was raised on, like the Bible, the Quran, the Kabbalah, the Injil, the Torah, whatever holy book you may have been raised on. Well, as you begin to ascend spiritually, you wanna adapt the study of geography along with your lessons, because it's gonna make it more relevant. Like, where did the parables take place? Or where did this particular scripture take place? Or something's resonating with you, you want to find the geographical location, right? It allows you to study further. When you're in that mode of study, this is all relative. Like, let's just say you done your Akasha, you done your ancestral studies, and you now become aware that you're from this certain part of the world. Well, you want to begin to study the geographical location. That way you can understand what powers are at work in your life, like what your descendants did, what your ancestors did, what kind of rhythms did they have. Geographical location is very important, particularly as you ascend, because you get a sense of knowing more than you would normally know. Your mind is different. So, your degree of creativity is different. Sometimes you got to embrace the creative aspect of your learning and your mind, right? So when you're reading, you can kind of like, just say you're reading a story that took place in Sardinia by Italy. Well, when you read the geographical of Sardinia, then you understand the monoliths are there. The Nuragi used to live there, which were in relation to the Nephilim. I'm just giving you some things I studied. I studied Sardinia and I became amazed at what took place there in regards to Noah's Ark. It was like a lot of stuff that I learned about Sardinia. That geographical study, it brought me a little bit closer with my resignations, so that's a good way to help you in your method of study. Like different things you taking in after you taking the event and where it happened, like anything, the wars of the Old Testament. I hear somebody like to read the Old Testament. I do. Or even the Quran, the wars, Turkish wars, like looking at and see where it took place. Read it, find the geographical, begin to increase your study. It's a method. And what it does is it draws you further into your power by way of connectivity. I read the stories of Benin. It brings me into the cradle of Valdun. I understand the powers that are at work. You know what I'm saying? Like when you read and you get into the essence of what you read in geographical location, it works. Another method of study is ancestral comparison, I love this because this is where you kind of like find out where you're from. Some people do ancestry.com, however you do it, or your family might pass down the knowledge. Well, when you find out where your roots, put down your roots. Go find out what your ancestors did. Compare them to you. It's good for ascension. You might have amulet makers like me that like to make trinkets and beads and stuff, right? You might have agriculturalists, right? All in your genealogy, in your ancestral bloodline. When you find these things out, then you can begin to find out a lot about yourself, like why you do these things, why you tick the way you tick, some of the foods you like. Why do you just like this food? Why are you averse to that food? Ancestral comparison is very good when you're dealing with study, and it helps you reach unaccomplished feats. Like, for instance, I'm going to give you one out the Bible. When King David died, he transitioned. He wanted to build the temple of God. So he spent all of his days gathering the wood. But the divine was like, well, David, you pretty dirty, so you done a lot of things, and perhaps you're not worthy to build the temple. So lo and behold, David transitions. He gets all of the wood together for the temple of God. Mm-hmm. But because God prevented him from building it, the duty fell on Solomon. So as Solomon, what did he have to do? Ancestral study. He had to look into the wood. He had to, of course, probably go over David's plans, and revise them. And it was a lot of ancestral study, but that's the saying that we compare, right? So what did Solomon do? Solomon had to compare notes with David in order to build a temple of Solomon. The same way we do when we building, we begin to go in, we find out about our ancestors, our genealogy, we find out about our descendants, and we begin to compare ourselves to them. Well, what did they do that I like to do? The next mode of study is, in my most important mode, right? I refer to it as the esoteric way, right? Now, the word esoteric means intended or likely to be understood by a small number of people. So when you're doing esoteric studies, you can't expect to have the agreeance of others. This is like a level of when you full blown in your ascension, you have to begin to study things from an esoteric point. It's the only way, because you're going to be dealing with jewels that's being unlocked and things that are only meant to be understood by you and a few others. This is esoteric study. So like, according to what you already know, it has an esoteric meaning behind it. More than likely, a lot of things we learn, particularly about religion. So as you begin to become esoteric in your studies, it's kind of like opening up to your higher conscious, a higher level of understanding, right? More spiritual than anything. And understanding, right? When you begin to study things from an esoteric standpoint, you got to do away with judgment and you got to do away with the need for validation. You can't venture into those type of studies looking for validation. A lot of times the divine is laying a responsibility on you to hold what you know, right? Or either break it down in such a way where you can feed it to others, right? I know me, I filter a lot of esoteric meanings through because that's the position that God got me in. It's part of my purpose. So it's a method of study, esoteric insight into things. Dig a little deeper. And sometimes it's required. In order for you to reach certain levels, it's like you gotta open up. You gotta be willing to look at a thing and be like, well, there's more than one meaning to it. Or it's a deeper meaning. And I wasn't gonna be here long. I just wanted to come by, drop off a little bit of information. High Priestess probably took down some notes or she got some things she wanna say. And then we're gonna get out of here.
Okay. So I just was writing a few things down. I think you had some really great information for the collective. So thank you for that because I learned a lot. Right. So as I was listening, I was thinking about spiritual overload. The Hierophant was saying how, sometimes we can read too many things, right? And it could just be overwhelming with the amount of information. And so I was thinking like, spiritual overload. Like, when you download the wrong things on your computer and you get a virus, right? Your mind can be the same way, right? If we download too much information, it can be like a computer with a virus, We must stop allowing things so close to us, even negative information, right? So we have to stay guarded even with the information that we take in as divine beings, right? Okay. Next, love. We had got done our readings earlier and I just seen this card sitting here, so I thought it was very significant for me to speak about it. Spirit is using you as an example of love. Let me say that again. God is using you as an example of love to show what genuine love truly is, right? Make sure you are seeing the good in all things and loving everything, even the things that don't love you. That shows spiritual maturity, right? Knowing that even when a thing doesn't love you, you must still love it to be at peace, okay? Next one I have is, let's see. Last one, okay? Spiritual illness is going around, okay? We are in spiritual warfare. World War III is spiritual. You could be suddenly having symptoms that seem to be a common cold. A dry cough is the most noticeable sign. This is an extended cough, okay? And the doctors are unable to detect anything other than the common cold. However, if this so-called cold lingers for weeks up until months, when interacting with unfamiliar energies and familiar energies with ill intent, make sure that you pray for protection over your flesh, as the flesh is of death and disease. So those spirits like to attack your physical body, hence your health. Hot teas, herbs, rest, and faithful prayer will allow you to beat this entity. Okay?
Oh, before she left, I just saw somebody on here and it reminded me I wanted to tap in to this too. As far as methods of study, right? When you're dealing with internet and information, you gotta realize, first of all, if you're a person that sifts the internet and you get information and you don't have a general sense of grounding, you're gonna poison yourself because you're gonna be fed a lot of inserts and 1 minute clippings and subliminal suggestions of things. Now, mind you, it's truth and it's falsehood. Those are two energies that are very much prevalent among us. The truth is there and the falsehood. Now, when you put yourself in search engines or you put yourself in a place where you're gathering your information, right? But you're not grounded. So you're gathering it from sources or things that come to you, right? And it's like Google, you can poison yourself and you can cause yourself to be in what's called like a viral rabbit hole. It's like a cyber rabbit hole where your information. So I encourage you, right? If you're a person like me, I take in information from everywhere, but I have a general sense of grounding, meaning I have hard, solid books that I've read, right? I have knowledge that I've obtained, as we all should have. And that should be your centering. Like if you're speaking, particularly from a heightened point where you're speaking to others or whatever, your grounding should be evident. Like, you know, if you're a person like, let's just say like, you're a person that's good at putting things together and getting them out. But everything you put together and get out, it goes out, people hear it. Well, real people who are very high vibrational, they always gonna check it, right? So you gotta realize your information that you put out, it has to be like factual. Like it has to be from a place that's fact-based, not an information center of the internet. Like it's like
only the truth and a lie. That's it.
Yeah, you should be, and I'm saying this because I want to be careful because it's not about deterring anybody from Google or the internet. It's not about that because I use it and it's very effective. Like if I'm looking up something and hold on, look this up real quick. So it's effective studying. But when you are a person that don't have a grounding, it can become a poison because then you can rely, like I seen a brother on YouTube and he was being questioned, and the first thing he did was grabbed his phone, and that let me know right there, like you gotta have enough in you that should come out of you. Mm-hmm. The divine speaks from within us, right? Google and the internet and all of that AI, it speaks externally to us. It's a force that exists outside of us. So don't let that be your sole influence, right? But don't deter yourself from it either. Like you gotta have a balance. Mm-hmm. And particularly when studying and it's for spiritual things and it's not just to enhance your own self, you gotta do where you led. You gotta move how you got it. Like God will move you through it. Like where you need to be, what you need to be looking into, all that if you're really sincere. Mm-hmm. Now, if you really in it to try to do something and you want glory for yourself, you're going to be a person that get into a lot. Mm-hmm. Because there's so much out there.
That's real.
I'm telling you, if you're a person that's religious and you got a faith, you can go on one of these where they, what you call them, babe?
Search engine?
You know, like how you go on TikTok and then you just strolling
real.
And they be like, back in the day, the ancient Aztecs, right? And they got all this information that's coming at you. It can shake your faith and your foundation. You can begin to believe in things that you hearing bits and pieces of, right?
Subconsciously.
Subliminal suggestions. You got to be grounded before you go in certain areas. Like if you know daggone well you having problems with your faith, you should only be going to listen to things that reinforce your faith. If you know you having struggles in areas of faith, why you going to listen to things that's going to make you question your faith? Why you going to listen to people that's going to make you question your faith? If you know you're not spiritually grounded, why are you reading things about this spiritual, these spirituals, these? Why are you doing that? What is your grounding? What is your foundation? It's never wise to start snooping around spiritual things unless you have a strong spiritual foundation. You're going to be swayed.
And what is your intent?
And your intentions. And then I heard Spirit say, even in that, the road to hell is still paved with good intentions.
That's true.
So it takes action. You know, good intention, it gets you so far, it stands you right in the universe, but it does little when it comes to really removing karma. Like you gotta have action behind your intention. And when it comes to studying, stay out of loose areas. Like if you know you vulnerable, if I'm vulnerable in an area, why am I go there? You know, if I know something about me is weak, unless I feed it, why am I feed it? If I know that my curiosity runs rampant, why would I go in areas that's going to make me more curious? When you having problems with your faith, divine seed, go to things that encourage your faith. Don't play around with the devil.
Right.
If you're not grounded, be willing to admit to yourself, I'm not grounded, right? You can't pretend in the spirit realm. You only thing going to show up on you in the spirit is what you earn. It doesn't matter what nobody thinks about you. What people have to think and what the spirit realm are two different places. So let's not pretend in either one. Be who you are in the 3D authentically. And in the spirit, present what you have authentically. Don't go in spiritual places just, oh man, I'm going to go in there and just stomp around and read about it.
You can't sneak in the spirit though. It's loud. It's very loud in the spirit, you know. That's why when you have people that are attacking you in the spirit realm, right, and they think they're sneaking, walking on eggshells, it's very loud, you know.
There's a lot of those. Some people, you know, they very noisy out here in these spiritual streets, although they may be very quiet in real life, or, you know, they may be masked and cloaked in real life, but in the spiritual streets, you real loud. The spirit realm is so delicate. I want to tell y'all something so y'all can know this. You know, when you're dealing with humanity, you could take a man from China and you could take a woman from Africa, right? Now, these two people, they from two different spiritual aspects of life. Now, if they cross each other's path in harmony, you know, they give each other a balance to learn the spirits of one another, right? Now, when we cross each other's path in conflict, all we do is come into contact with things that we don't have to come into contact with.
Right.
That goes for you who want to be in conflict with people. You put yourself in conflict with spirits that you have no knowledge of.
Right.
Same way with reading, right? Why would I go read a book about something spiritual that I know I have no knowledge of? That's the first thing. And then secondly, I know I have no grounding to even back me up. Why would I crack that book open? Don't you know when you read names, particularly out loud, That's spiritual invitation, right? I see people open up books like the Goetia. When you open that up and you read those names that you read, you welcome them to your sphere of existence, even mentally. You don't even gotta say it loud. Some of these spirits, they are powerful. You crack the book open and read, and you go past a page, you done released an entity into your life. Just by going read everything spiritual. You want so much spiritual. You know, they be like, oh, say you want some spirits. Hey, okay, we give you some spirits. So it's best to not fill your life up with a whole bunch of spirits that you have no knowledge of. Stay out of those areas. Stay where you grounded. Stay where you familiar. Unless you led. Even me, right? I'll glance at something. I might see it. And then you know what I do? I reflect in my spirit. Should I go any further or should I leave it alone? Spirit say leave it alone. I'm done. Don't need to know no more. Don't want to read no more. I ain't interested in hearing nothing else about it. Spirit said that's above me. Now, when you're a person that ignore those warnings, always remember the ancestors and spirit, they warn us for a reason. Some doors, when you open them, you can't get them back closed so easily. Spiritual avenues, don't study things that you know are not in alignment with you. Like, I hear somebody, you want to go study the book of demonology. Okay, that's fine. Do you have a strong faith to walk there with?
Right.
Because if you don't have a strong faith, don't study books like that.
It's like eating peanut butter with a nut allergy.
Right. You heard me. If you know you're allergic to peanuts, why eat a peanut butter?
Why you eating the Snickers?
Your thyroid's gonna be, your lymph nodes gonna be swollen up.
You gonna be all messed up.
Talk about, I know I should hate that. That's how Aries of Spirit do.
This the big one.
Oh, Elizabeth.
Oh, Elizabeth, this the big one. I done ate a Snicker bar.
I ain't even gonna lie, y'all. It's some people I done met, right? I done met some people and their spirit's so strong that I'll be wanting to, I'll say, well, should I say hi? Or spirit say, you don't say nothing. You just move that way. And I'll be like, okay, I'm gone. Like, no lie, like, once you become discerning of your spirit, then you start having no desire to go in them spiritual
That's
areas.
real. Remember we had, I remember it was this time, the Hierophant and I, we were at this place of business. And oh my gosh, it was this woman, and she had an entity attached to her, right? And it was the beginning of our spiritual journey, right? So in the beginning of your spiritual journey, most people is like either you want to play with magic or you really just want to help people, right? You got two sides, because everybody I meet is either like they really want to help people or they trying to cook up the spell work. They like, teach me how to do magic straight off the bat, right? So anyway, we had we ran into this lady that had literally an entity attached to her. She was speaking, talking to herself, having conversations. She was really halfway here and halfway in the spirit, right? You ever met a person like that? Where they are affected by the demonic. So half of their mind is here and the other half is in the spirit, and you can tell because of the things that they do, right? The things that they say and the inconsistencies and things of that nature. Well, she had zapped out in this place of business and started flipping over their computers and doing all this. Oh,
yeah, I remember.
And
her.
Doing all this kind of stuff, right? And, I was like, well, maybe we could have helped her, right? But, you have to know, you have to be able to pick and choose your battles, right? It's some spirits, God is just going to be like, it's above you, this one ain't for you. And, this particular day and where we were in our spirituality, it was above us, right? It was a situation where God was showing us a thing, right? Of how entities look on people as we became spiritually ascended, right? Okay, this is an entity right here. See, this young lady, this is not her. She was gone. You can look in a person's eyes and see that they are physically not there in their body. It's soul. This person is soulless, right?
A lifeless
a lifeless energy.
Yeah.
Right? So begin to pick and choose your spiritual battles wisely. Not everything is for us to fight. Some things are literally above us. We don't qualify. Right? We can't comprehend the danger that they could bring to us. Right? So be careful.
It's funny that she said that, because I remember that day when we ran into that lady Shorty that had that entity. I'm talking about, y'all, it was to the point where as though we wanted to help.
It was very bad.
But it was so bad that we knew even if we tried to help, it was only going to make it worse. Because she was that far gone. And she had a strong entity. And we were so sensitive at the time to spiritual things. So it just was a crazy.
It was a lesson,
Yeah,
it was one of those
experience.
Situations where it was a lesson for us, and now we know how to deal with those things. Now we can help a person through those things. So know your role, right? Stay in your lane, your spiritual lane, right? Don't allow anybody to push you out of your lane. You know what God has for you. You know what level you're on, right? Like Mario, right? You couldn't skip from level 1 on Mario to get to the castle to beat Bowser. You had to earn your way to the castle, right? So.
And we have to always one thing I'm starting to learn as I move forward, because this is what I want, right? Like, honesty and integrity is important when you're dealing with spirit, right? Not so much humans, right? And I'm not saying that it doesn't make a difference. What I'm saying is, if you're a person that live for the honor and integrity of humanity, and that's your first place, then you're gonna misplace the honor and integrity of spirit, right? Because you're gonna serve the master of one energy. You can't serve two things from an energetic perspective or God, meaning I can't serve one energy and another. So I'm gonna have to be loyal to spirit and less loyal to mankind, right? Once we get that energy, I promise you, we'll learn how to look at each other as what a body and a collective supposed to be. Because too often, people ascend into their power, we get this ego, and then we like each other one minute, and then the next minute we don't, right? It's like, oh, that person, oh, I like that reader. And then that reader tell you about yourself, and then, oh, I don't like that reader. Or you like this person, and then you find out something about them that don't suit you well. So now, oh, I don't like this person because I found out this about them or that. Let me tell you something. Nobody past has anything to do with their anointing, where nobody from. The only thing that has anything to do with anything is that we all stuck here together, going into 2025, ascending into our spirituality and realizing that it's much more to life than what we first thought. That's where we should be at. That's why, I bless God for the ability to have a non-judgmental mindset, right? And it's because so much judgment was passed on me in life, not to be a victim. I'm actually glad about it, because it gave me the ability to not judge, not be judgmental. You know why? Because I know how prohibiting it is. Like, people would judge me and I would be like, man, I can win it. I have the skill set to win it. But people be like, oh, no, I can't trust her. No, I can't do it. It's the same way with individuals. Like, a person doesn't really know what you're capable of, right? So it's like, we should learn to look at one another as operable beings in the purpose of the divine, right? Once we recognize that as a collective, I don't have to agree with anything about that sister over there. That don't mean that God ain't using her and she ain't in alignment. See, what I'm about to do is disturb alignment because I'm about to project energy to her, and I'm about, and it causes a great disturbance. We need to learn how to respect and value the frequency that each one of us offers. Because when you moving in your north node and I'm moving in my north node, the frequency is magnificent. The devil always gonna try to steal from that energy by confusion. Oh, I was High Priestess was showing me something about the young sister today. What's her name? That wore the she's real judgmental now.
B. Simone.
Oh yes, and she was just telling me about the lady B. Simone. I don't know a lot about it. She do though. And when she told me the whole story, I was like, wow, well, it causes a lot of people to be hurt when you shift lanes, so to speak. It's like I go to religion, I knock spirituality, right? And then I leave religion, and then I leave spirituality and I knock religion. But look at how many people you hurt. Why do we hurt people when we do that? Because little do we know, when you shift lanes, people that's attached to you, they shift too often. Why? Because they come up under you. So you got to be careful. It's like when you going through your process of ascension or whatever, don't ascend into a place and look back and be, I'm criticizing Christians now because I found out some information. Or vice versa. That don't add. That only subtract from the collective energy. Everybody at different levels. So learn how to appreciate each and every gift that everybody has to offer, right? When you see somebody moving in an energy and, they trying to get ahead or they could be struggling, assist them. If you know somebody help you, let them know they help you. It's called confirmation. Too many of us lay in the dark and steal energy. It's like, I'm going to go to a reader page, but I ain't going to give them nothing even when I got it. But I'm going to just use the advice that they give, right? And I'm going to steal. Well, what happens when you get into a bond because you wasn't honest with spirit? So spirit doesn't necessarily be honest with you. Let's be real. We get back what we put out. If I'm a thief, I'm a thief. Energetically, you know what I'm saying? If you on somebody's live feed or you can't throw a heart or a sign of acknowledgement, that means that you're stealing. Spiritually, you're a spiritual thief. You was known as a spiritual charlatan. You know what that is? A person that says, yes, I don't want to work for anything. Just give me information for free. I don't want to pay. I don't want to give. I don't want to do anything. I just want free information.
And then act like you ain't get it from there. You ain't get it from the source.
Whole time playing around in spirit, and people, ancestors looking at you like this. Oh yeah?
Okay. All right.
And they line you up. And then you look like the sign that the brother Trey is leaving on here repeatedly. Hit it some more, Trey. That's the sign. That's how they look. That face you got on there, brother. Put some more lights on there. That's the sign right there that we have when we go in spiritual charlatan mode, because spirit will line you up for destruction. We always look for, give me a spiritual message that's going to make me feel good. Give me a reading and tell me that the world is in my reading, right? We don't want to hear that the devil in our reading. We don't want to hear that the chariot is in reverse in our reading.
Then you don't like the reader no more.
I
ain't like them anyway. I don't know.
One week you like them, and then the next week, I'm ascended now.
Get out of here.
Look, it's funny how you can help somebody reach their ancestors, and then once they reach their ancestors, they don't want nothing to do. They swear, my ancestors told me. How your ancestors told you that when we play, it don't work like that. You know what I'm saying? Like the ancestors, the high vibrationals, they real big on honor. Right. They so big on honor that
spiritual integrity.
The ancestors are so big on honor. I'm gonna show you how my ancestors have worked. and how they honor set up. And I know a lot of yours is. It's been people that have helped me along the way in life that in my ego, I turned around and I don't like them. And my ancestors say they still gonna get blessed for looking out for you when we couldn't reach you, right? That's the honor system that's like your ancestors, the high vibrational ones. When you do something wrong and you offend, you know what they say? We can't help you. You have to endure karma.
No, baby, we can't help you this time, baby.
We can't help you this time.
You got to do this one on your own,
You got to do
baby.
this on your own. You dig a hole out, right? So that's why it's good to establish spiritual integrity and honor, right? You know, like, if I'm on a reader's page and I hear something, you know, if I ain't got no financials to send them, because I always consider that, you know, I wish I had a cash app. But if I ain't got that, I'm going to leave me a comment. I'm going to let them know exactly how I feel about the work that they doing for the divine. I'm not going to sit in the shadows and steal and do those kinds of things because you're not gaining the advantage. Spirit is watching you. Your intentions is to do what? Steal energy, but not confirm to the reader that they blessed you. That's a spiritual charlatan, right? That's despicable. Out in the Yamas, they frown on that kind of energy. You know, the universe loves courage. When you have courage, the universe, God, reacts to that, right? So always have the courage to step forward and be like, woe is me, yay me, you know, thank you, Spirit, or thank you, reader. God bless you. You blessed my life. I heard somebody the other night, they was like, that's a word. Like, you know, and these types of things, they help us grow as a collective, y'all. It's to get the confusion out. I just heard somebody speaking about a new heaven and a new earth. And it all begins in the spirit, in the mind, as above, so below. That's what the collective is all about. The collective that we connected to is about forming a new heaven and a new earth. Amidst the chaos, amidst the violence, amidst the turmoils, amidst your shortcomings, amidst your mishaps, amidst your problems, even amidst your addictions and your vices. It's still time to build and be a contribution to new heaven and new earth by making an effort to do better. Even letting a thought creep in. Even admitting I do need to do better. That's a perfect start.
Right.
Well, that was your energy for tonight. We're about to wind it down, unless you got anything else.
Dirty wine. Dirty wine.
Dirty wine.
Dirty wine. We love y'all.
She from the hood, she good, she one on mine. Hot on it, she dirty wine. God bless you all.